Imagine this. You sit down to watch a movie in English, confident that your vocabulary is growing and your reading skills are improving. But within 3 minutes of listening to real native speakers talking at full speed, everything suddenly turns into one long, confusing sound. They're not speaking like your textbook. They're not pausing between words. And you start wondering, do these people even breathe? If this feels familiar, you're not alone. Millions of English learners around the world can understand English when reading, but struggle to follow real conversations. And today, I want to speak directly to you, in a human, honest, and motivating way, to show that yes, fast English is something you can understand, and you can start noticing real progress in just 30 days if you train the right way. So welcome to this episode. Understand Fast English in 30 days. I want you to imagine that we are sitting in a room together, maybe with a coffee, talking like friends. And I'm telling you something personal. Native English is not difficult because it is complex. It's difficult because nobody ever trained your ears for how English really sounds in real-life speech. In school, you learned words one by one. You learned grammar rules, vocabulary lists, maybe repeated them hundreds of times. But native speakers don't speak word by word. They speak in groups of words, in chunks, connected, compressed, sliding one sound into another with contractions, reductions, weak forms, and even disappearing sounds. And the reason you feel lost is simply because you were never taught to listen the way natives speak. Think about this. When we say, "What are you going to do?" you probably learned to listen for every word clearly, like, "What are you going to do?" But a native speaker might say it as, "What are you going to do?" Sometimes almost in one breath. If your ears were trained only for the full, slow version, of course, the fast version feels like an alien language. It has nothing to do with lack of intelligence, nothing to do with not being good at English. It has everything to do with training. And that is why, in the next minutes, I want to guide you, step by step, through a mental shift. English listening is not about understanding every word. It's about recognizing patterns, sounds, rhythm, and the natural shortcuts that real speakers use in everyday conversation. Now, if I asked you, why don't native speakers speak clearly, you might be tempted to think they are being lazy. But actually, it's the opposite. Native English evolved to be efficient. Humans are always trying to do things with less effort, and speaking is no exception. So English naturally developed speed tricks, reducing sounds, skipping syllables, connecting vowels and consonants, eating endings, and making long expressions shorter. Going to became gonna. Want to became wanna. I did not know became I didn't know, which might sound like and no. Once you start hearing these patterns, your brain adapts. It stops expecting perfect pronunciation and begins recognizing real spoken English. That's when things change. That's when listening starts becoming enjoyable instead of exhausting. Imagine this. For 30 days, you decide to train your ears just like someone trains their muscles. Every day, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, you listen to real English, the kind spoken in interviews, movies, podcasts, or even YouTube videos like this. But you do it correctly. You don't panic. You don't try to catch every word. You listen once without trying to understand. Then you listen again, focusing only on tone and rhythm. Then you listen again, this time catching a few words, then expressions, then noticing the way sounds connect. And day after day, your ears get stronger. One day, you suddenly realize you can follow 40% without subtitles, then 50%, then 60%. And this improvement happens much faster than you might believe, because once your brain starts hearing native patterns, everything accelerates. Let me give you another example. In textbooks, you learn that the word and is pronounced and. But in real speech, most of the time, it sounds like n. A sentence like, "I'm tired and hungry," becomes, "I'm tired and hungry." If you are waiting to hear the full "and," you may feel like a word disappeared. But if your ears are trained, it makes perfect sense. The same happens with "to," which often becomes "ta." So, "I need to go" becomes "I need to go." You might even hear, "I need to go." This is how English lives and breathes in the real world. You don't need perfect grammar in your listening brain. You need pattern recognition. And once that clicks, fast speech stops being a monster and becomes something almost musical, something rhythmic, something human.
Now, let me speak to you from experience. I've met learners who knew thousands of words, but froze the moment someone spoke naturally. And I've also met learners with small vocabularies who could follow conversations like natives. What did the second group have that the first group didn't? Listening exposure to real English. They spent time hearing how natives truly speak, not slowed down, not artificially cleaned up, not teacher perfect, but the real, messy, beautiful, fast, connected English that people use on the street, in movies, in conversations, and in daily life. And this is where your journey begins. If you commit to 30 days of smart listening, you'll start noticing something extraordinary. What felt impossible suddenly becomes clearer. Your ears start decoding sounds, your brain stops panicking, and you begin understanding without thinking. And here's something even more important. Stop telling yourself, "I need to improve my English before I can listen." No. Listening is not the last step. It's the door. It's the key. When a baby learns a language, they don't read a textbook first. They listen. They absorb patterns. They hear how words move, how sounds merge, how emotions shape tone. Listening is how the brain builds the internal grammar that later allows speech to become natural. If babies can do it without knowing a single rule, imagine what you can do with focus, intention, and consistency. You have the advantage of experience, motivation, and awareness. Train your ears, and your speaking will improve automatically. Because when you hear natural English, you start to reproduce it naturally. Now I want to speak directly to you. Over the next 30 days, I want you to make a simple commitment. Just listen. Not perfectly, not obsessively, not with stress, just consistently. Put on English audio while cooking, walking, waiting for transport, cleaning, or before bed. Even if you don't understand much at first, stay with it. Your brain is learning, even when you feel lost. Think of it like staying in a room with a new smell. At first it feels strong. After a while you don't even notice it, but your brain has already adapted. Listening works the same way. If you expose yourself to natural English every day, something inside begins to shift, and the results are real. And let me tell you something powerful. Your listening journey is not supposed to be perfect. You will miss words. You will misunderstand sentences. But every time you try, you grow. Every time you come back the next day, you win. Learning a language is not about perfection. It's about progress. And you can make incredible progress in just 1 month if you choose to be consistent. So as we reach the end of this session, I want to leave you with a motivational thought. Fast English is not a wall. It's a wave. At first it looks big, it sounds intimidating, but the moment you stop running from it and start learning how it moves, you discover something beautiful. You can ride it. You can flow with it. And suddenly what once scared you becomes something exciting. So here is your challenge. Starting today, decide that for the next 30 days, you will listen to real English every day, even if just for a short time. Do it while cooking, driving, exercising, lying down, eating, whatever works for your life. Just don't give up, because 30 days from now, you might be surprised at how much your ears have transformed. And if you want more episodes like this, more listening journeys, more explanations of real native patterns, then make sure you follow the channel, share this episode, and leave a comment telling me your goal for these next 30 days. I believe in you. Let's grow together. Let's train your ears, and let's make fast English finally make sense.